evening's consideration. I call the meeting to order. You start with your agenda, Mr. Chairman. There's some minutes to be approved, and then some 4 items to take up one by one after that.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Let's say the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes, we do. And I make a motion that we accept the minutes as published from December 10th, 2019. We got a busy schedule here.
Okay,
I second it.
okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, new business for the evening. Item number 1, consideration and recommendation regarding application for variance in community graphic regulations filed by Modern Sign Incorporated for the Thorntons Incorporated out on Route 20. Variation of village community graphics regulations pursuant to the village code for proposed signage at the Thorntons development located at 19N 479 US Highway 20.
So, Mr. Chairman, there's someone with us by telephone from Modern Signs. That is Mr. DiFiore, and he will present this. You know, the Thorntons development is in the truck stop area. All of those businesses come in with a comprehensive sign package, and there's a couple of items that for which he's asking a general variance. One of which will be the height of one sign, and the other will be a total area of the wall signs that go on the canopy and other wall surfaces of the proposed development. So, Ernie, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, why don't you introduce yourself and summarize your petition?
Very well. My name is Ernie DiFiore. I'm with Modern Signs, and we represent Thorntons. What Thorntons is looking to do is develop a sign package that is similar to the packages that they install in pretty much every other Thorntons in a like scenario. We have a number of things that we would request to be changed from the standard allowance. For example, number of wall signs and canopy signs. You only allow 1 wall sign per street frontage. However, there are multiple buildings, and we would request 10 wall signs, of which 3 would be for future tenants. We are also looking for 2 freestanding pole signs, one of which is for the cat truck weight scales. And we're looking for minor changes to some of the signage ordinances as far as sizing and height. As far as like our freestanding highway sign, you allow 80 square feet, and they would like 100 square feet. Excuse me, 100 feet in height.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. This is all spelled out in the list of variations, which precedes a complete package which identifies each particular sign with its location, size, measurements, so forth.
Anybody have any questions for this gentleman?
No, I have a question for Mark, though. Mark, I hope you can hear me okay, but, you know, my usual question, we remaining consistent with what we've previously done at the truck stop. Love's is in there all the time. Speedway was looking for variances. Are we going to be consistent with this as far as what we allowed other places to do?
Correct. That you did allow for some leniency on signage and especially sign height for the other users at the truck stop area. As you know, it's in a bit of a depression. when compared to the tollway. So they've all asked for some extra height. And because of the busyness, the various different types of business entities that are involved, the convenience store, the gas pumps, truck parking, truck diesel, there's a truck wash going in at Thornton's. They often ask for some additional signage to identify those different types of business and to direct people in and around their own particular property so they know where to go and how to get there.
Ernie, this Bill Albert on the board. How does this, your request differ from what we allowed Love's to do?
From what you allowed whom to do?
Love's at the other end?
Oh, truly, I would not know. I do not know what sign package Love's has applied for.
Mark, how is this package different than Love's?
I didn't examine it item by item. It's not significantly or obviously different in any way. The 80 feet to 100 feet is consistent with other pole signs out there, and you have allowed for more wall signs than would be otherwise permitted under the code at Love's and at Speedway, the two more recent new businesses there.
Okay.
But I didn't try to compare them one by one.
Okay, I guess my question is, if we recommend approval of this, are we gonna have Speedway or Love's in here next week saying, well, we tried to get that, you wouldn't give it to us? That's my question.
Well,
Well, I wouldn't think so, but again, we could dive into that for you and report back if that's the most important thing.
I just try, I think we try to remain consistent when it
Sure.
comes to truck stop.
Mark, this is Joe. I think this is probably one of the further stations away from the toll road. So an extra few feet on the height, I don't really think bothers me. And an extra few square feet on the sign, because of the extra distance, probably wouldn't make that much difference. Other than for visibility from the toll road, I don't think it's gonna cause, any more light, pollution than we've already got up there. So, I don't see the issue. I don't know if we need all these Thornton signs on the canopy or not, but that's minor. Other than that, I don't have any issues with this package.
And to me, if it's not really different from what we did for Love's, because the truck stop is its own. I keep asking the village to pass a separate signage for that whole area.
Well,
We save a lot of problems.
we sort of did.
Well, yeah, we're doing it piecemeal, and I'd like to see the village put a comprehensive program together. Of course, it'll be built up by the time we get down to it, so.
Yeah, we sort of did last time because we increased the heights and everything last time in the regular.
I got no problem with it.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
No?
My only comment would be is, as Bill kind of mentioned there, maybe it seems like every time somebody wants to do something down there, we got all these variations. So is it because our sign ordinance is not what it should be? I mean, it doesn't seem like they're putting anything. There are Catskills at every truck stop all over the country. I mean, every time they walk in to put up one of them signs, they gotta go into town and get a variance to put it up. I can't believe that.
I can, if I may, when I went through your sign codes to determine what we were trying to do versus what was allowed, I found that we had 3 separate sets of sign codes that actually affected the area we're trying to get into. So many of the things all come in and are actually legal and don't need a variance because it's in a special permit use. But there were 3 separate sign codes that applied to the area that we're trying to build in. So it kind of convoluted things. That's why the list of variations requested kind of spells out, you know, what is allowed, what we're trying to do, and what potential changes we would need to address. And I went so far as to, you know, mention vinyl that we put out, informational vinyl that would go on the gas canopy, or excuse me, the diesel canopy, that talks about, you know, this is the entrance, this is the exit. And based on your codes, there's one particular thing that says it's informational, it doesn't need to be permitted. But I just brought everything out to light here so that when you looked at it, you could see the full extent of what we want to do. So that there's nothing, you know, there's nothing misleading, nothing there. I'm not, you know, and of the signs that we're getting permission for, one of the large signs, the cat scale sign, isn't even us. That's a future thing by other people. 3 of the signs that will go on one of the buildings, those are for future tenants. So, you know, I just included them with our paperwork so that you would know everything that we were looking to do on the entire property.
Understood.
I got no problem.
Anybody else on the board have any comment or question?
No.
If not, we will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of the application by Modern Signs Incorporated for Thornton's as described in item number 1.
Second. Take a roll vote, please.
Okay. Bill?
Yes.
So, yes. Carl?
All right.
Rich?
Aye.
And Hank?
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries.
Carries. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you
Next
very
item
much.
on your agenda.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. DiFiore. Appreciate your
Thank
time.
you. Thank you.
Station will go to the village board and then they will make their decision on our record.
Ernie DiFiore, Modern Signs.
Is now exiting.
Okay, number 2 on the evening's agenda is consideration and recommendation regarding application amendment filed by Jay Mackey as owner to amend zoning classification of the property at 220 Keys Avenue from B2 Community Business Zoning District to F2 General Industrial Zoning District for a multifaceted contractorship, to with a landscaping business and storage yard on the premises. Hello.
Hi,
Aye.
So who is here for the petitioner, please?
Jay Mackey.
Jeannie Mackey.
Jeannie, are you going to address the board?
Christine Klein's going to address for me.
All right, anyone who's going to testify, Mr. Chairman, this is a public hearing, so you should open the public hearing, please.
I've got a sign-in sheet up here too.
We signed in.
We need a motion to open the public
I make a
hearing.
motion to open the public hearing.
7:15 PM.
Okay.
Second,
Second.
Do we have to swear these people in?
first, is there a second on the motion?
Hi, Rich.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Vote?
all ayes.
All ayes.
Aye.
All right, now we do need to swear people in, so Christine and Jean are there, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give in this public hearing will be the truth?
yes, yes.
I do. Yes.
Thank you. Who's going first?
I'll go.
Let's
Jean,
recite the record.
And I don't know who the third one is.
Brian,
Brian.
he's the landscaper.
Oh, okay.
Let's just have a seat
Did you get that?
turn so we keep our proper social distancing, please.
I need to make a statement for the record. Notice of this public hearing was published in the Daily Herald newspaper more than 15 days ago, and a certificate of publication is on file with the village clerk. I would ask the petitioner, do you have some proof of posting signage on the property and mailing to your neighbors?
Yeah,
What is it?
I have the receipts, the certified mail receipts from the post office.
Okay, so you need to deliver those to Mr. Hedges so he can deliver them to the village clerk.
Okay,
All right, and what about the sign? When was it posted?
you remember?
The notice on the property.
The sign's been out there for 15 days.
All right, and who's that speaking?
Christine,
Christine.
All right, thank you. All right, so this is a petition at 220 Kais Avenue, a property that used to be a daycare center, operated by Ms. Mackey, as I recall, Little Wonders. And there is a business, a landscape business that's interested in locating there that would require a change from the B4 Community District zoning to M2 General Industrial District, which allows for a contractor's yard, should allow him the office building and some storage in the back for his landscape business. Also, because he's in the landscape business, rather than construct a fence, which is required for any outdoor storage in the M2 zoning district, Mr. Awad would propose to put up screening that it would be planted materials, and he'll tell you, or Christine will tell you more about that in a second. But that's what this petition is about. It would be a zoning map amendment to then address and allow that type of business in that neighborhood. So whoever would like to present, Christine or Jeannie, go ahead.
so Miss Becky's been trying to sell the building for 3 years. Very hard to find a buyer to go into the industrial park with a B4 zoning. She did have a buyer that purchased her daycare business, then went out of business. So since that time, the building has been sitting vacant. So we now have a gentleman who would like to purchase the property and locate his business there, Elegant Outdoor Designs, which requires the M2 zoning. You have a plan that was in your packet that Mr. Awad has designed to show you what he means by a landscape business and all the facets that are going to be on the property. So I can answer questions, Mr. Awad can answer questions.
What is the zoning of the property directly to the east of it?
East, across the street. It's a house, and it is zoned,
No, to the
No,
east.
east.
oh, east. That is Bessler coming.
Yeah, that's right.
Whatever.
They are zoned M, I think
They're
there's,
Placing this stuff. The map's up on the wall, just to be sure, but
yeah, they're M1.
there's a mixture there. There's M1, and then as you get closer to State Street, there's some business zoning. M1 is to the east. I think there's M1 to the north, and then to the south, I believe there's another business entity, and M1 zoning, and then the railroad tracks.
If I'm reading the application correctly, it stated that the property was previously M2 zone and was changed for whatever to B4.
When she opened the daycare.
Oh, correct, so that is correct. So it was at some point M2.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? I personally don't have a problem with it.
No.
entertain a motion.
We'll close the public hearing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, excuse me.
Is there,
Is
any
any,
members of the public who have a comment on this?
No,
no comment from the public?
Okay, there's
Sign
there's two matters before you, so please take them separately. The first would be to change the zoning, as you've noted. The second one is about allowing a variance for landscape screening in lieu of fencing for the rear yard storage. I would ask Mr. Awad to explain a little bit about what his plans are for storage in that backyard, please.
Okay, on, item number 2, I'll make a motion that we, approve or.
Oh, wait a minute, Bill. Wait.
Okay.
We need to hear from this gentleman.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Just tell
What
me.
are your plans for outdoor storage on that property? What are you going to store there, if anything, and how much, and for how long, and what's it about?
So in the back area on the design plan, we have, on the blueprint layout, we have storage bins in the back for like rock material or mulch material or even topsoil or compost. We have a debris pile that gets removed every week with the semi truck. So it's not going to be stockpiled there for a long period of time. In regards to the parking lot, just trucks and trailers and maybe machines.
And you're opposed to putting some sort of structural fence up, and you're gonna landscape screen that?
Yeah, what I was proposing in the design, if you want me to,
They have it.
okay, I didn't know if you guys do or not, but proposing to do landscaping along the back perimeter lot lines, because in the back there's trees. And I'd like to screen off the sides with landscaping and only having maybe a fence in front with a solid gate for privacy off the road.
So you would have just, what would you have across the back of the lot?
The rear of the lot,
The storage area.
there's, in the back of the lot, it backs up to a bunch of trees and then you get the creek that goes through the trees.
Well, there's a parcel there that's owned by Mr. Bessler between this property and the creek.
Correct. I talked to them already about possibly buying their piece of property.
Well, at this point, you'd have to put your screening, on your property line, and you could get back by the trees if you buy that other lot.
Sure. So what I can do is the bays that are currently on the blueprint, structurally holding in the materials, we can connect the back bays together as one wall. So that we have the screening, and I can just extend out the landscaping trees along the lot line, along the back area to the actual bays.
Okay, and those are 6 feet high?
The trees would be, I would install them at 9 feet or 12 feet each.
No, I mean the bays that you want to use now, are those 6 feet high?
The bays wouldn't be more than 8 to 10 feet high.
All right.
okay.
So you're talking about this area that says plant storage overflow?
That plant storage overflow would be for any inventory we have for our clients' properties that we
Right.
store plants at.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying along the back of that, you would put trees.
Oh, along between the trees and the bays, yes.
Now you've got truck and trailer parking. I can see you've got campers over there now. Are we
Not mine.
Camper?
No, that's the next door.
No,
No.
No, it's right up against the
The
building.
camper belongs to Miss Mackey, and she will be removing that from the property
Okay,
once it's sold.
I want to make sure nobody's living there.
It's for sale
No.
if you'd like to buy it.
Huh?
The camper's for sale if you'd like to buy it.
Does anybody have any more questions?
Yes, I do. One more, I need one clarification. In the application, it's showing the property currently as B4. But on on number 2, it's showing it as B2. So what's the current property, B2 or B4?
B4.
Before,
Okay, so number 2 needs to be corrected to show B4 community business zone.
yeah, it's B4.
Okay. That's the only thing I had. Thank you.
Do you have opposition to some sort of structural fence or that's required by the
You mean like, chain link versus wood?
Well, I mean, any kind.
Or any kind of fence.
Along the front part between, the entrance where the lot is. So if you're coming in the lot, you would come in through the gate. There's there's 4 spots on the back side of the fence on the design. So the gate would be in the front on a slider with a steel beam up top. What I was planning on doing was doing a steel beam up top with casing wheels in the steel beam, and it slides so it doesn't get stuck in ice, right? And then so also the garbage man can come in and get the garbage can out of there, you know? And then doing the fence from that part, either all the way through, behind the back of the building, or,
Through to the west.
yes, to the west,
Through to the west.
through to the west. I'm not in my directions, I'm sorry. Yes, through to the west, or I can do landscaping along that back bed too, instead of the fence, and just doing a gate as the fence.
I think what he was asking is why you would prefer putting landscaping in instead of like some kind of a fence, some kind of a decorative fence.
I think it's beautiful.
So,
I think it's beautiful landscaping.
Oh.
If we can add some nice trees and some varieties of plants to create that natural privacy that grows naturally taller than a fence, it's nicer to look at than that fence.
You don't have any concerns about security or anything?
I have, right now, 28 cameras on the property for security.
Thank you.
It's all hardwired. I got 82 security system already. We have chip sensors already installed, so I'm not too worried about it.
Dobermans.
We could have had a fence for that one.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
No.
All right, he's covered. Then we will adjourn any more comment from okay, then we will adjourn the public hearing.
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn the public hearing.
All in favor?
Second by Bill. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All ayes. Okay, adjourned at 7:28.
Now, there's 2 matters, and I'd ask that you take them up separately, please. So first motion, if you would address the petition for zoning map amendment from B4 to M2.
Does anybody have any more, you guys have any more discussion, or are you ready to entertain a motion?
We're ready to go.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to recommend approval for the rezoning of 220 Keys Avenue from B4 to M2 General Industrial Zoning.
Second.
Okay, okay, myself, aye. Carl?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Hank?
Aye.
And Bill?
Aye.
Okay, all ayes. Motion approved.
All right, and the second matter is whether you would recommend a variance to allow a substitution of landscaping material for a screen in lieu of a fence.
We have any discussion on that?
What, have we ever had this before?
Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, if he wants to put up a landscaping instead of a fence, he's got security covered. I don't see a problem.
Do we have any, parameters that would, govern what landscaping actually, would justify a perimeter replacement for a fence?
I believe in the site plan regulations, there are landscaping guidelines. You know, it's to be a screening material, so it needs to block the view. So the trees alone, fir trees would be okay, but trees alone won't really work unless you have understory planted as well. So that can be taken up in the site plan review process. But it's kind of a heads up to you, Mr. Awad, that, it's going to take some planning, and it's not something that the village wants to wait 10 years of growth, either.
Good point, yep, good point.
Yes.
So what I was thinking about with the trees was doing pine trees along the back end, not actual 2-inch caliper or 3-inch caliper. So there'd be pines from the ground up, it'd be full coverage and screening.
Okay.
And there'd be about 12 footers each one.
Well, it wouldn't be my determination. I was asking if the village has some sort of regulations or something that whoever approves your site plan or, the same person that would inspect the fence, I'm sure we have parameters for the type of fence that needs to be installed. I wasn't aware if we had parameters for the type of landscape screening that we would require.
It'd be the only place out there with.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't expect you to plant a row of, what do they call them, poplar trees that grow, and, it has to be something that visually.
Yeah. Okay.
I have no problem with it as long as there's somebody that reviews what you're gonna do there and, obviously along the way, there's gotta be some maintenance involved as there would be with some type of structure.
Yeah, there'll be a site plan review process that'll be reviewed by the village engineer.
Okay. As long as somebody's looking at it. Yeah. Any more questions or discussion?
Good.
Good. Well, then we will entertain a motion on the second part.
I did
You're on a roll. Go
I
ahead.
did the last two, you.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we allow the greenery rather than a fence.
I'll second it.
Carl,
Aye.
Rich.
Aye.
Hank,
Aye.
Bill. Aye. Myself, aye. All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, good luck.
Done. Thank you.
For those of us that make a great barrier.
Bye, Gene.
Bye, it was nice to see you
Yeah,
guys.
good to see you, Gene.
Stay well.
Take care, Gene. Take care.
Number 4,
Okay.
reviewing consideration and recommendation regarding application for text amendment to allow tattoo parlors and body piercing establishments as permitted in the B2 Community Business Zoning District.
Mr. Chairman, this arises from the village perspective. There is a business owner who is planning new buildings in the B2 zone. And one of the interested parties in that property hopes to establish a tattoo parlor. In the past, you have allowed tattoo parlors, but only in the industrial districts and at least 1,000 feet away from a residential district. This proposal would allow for that type of use to be in the B2 Community Business District and would not include the distancing requirement from the residential zones because if you look at the map, the B2 zones along Route 72 are directly adjoining residential districts. So that's the idea. Just for the record, a notice of this public hearing was published in the Daily Herald newspaper on April 23, 2020. A certificate of publication has been issued by the publisher and is on file with the village clerk. That was more than 15 days ago. You're being asked to decide if your decision, I think it was in 2003, so many, many years ago, to consign tattoo parlors to only the industrial districts of the village be revisited, and perhaps those uses no longer bear the concerns that were raised in 2003 and may be admitted into a B2 district.
Well, you're saying they weren't allowed along 72, where would we put them?
Mr. Hedges, is it the new property that's between State and Warner?
Yes.
So there's a retail shopping district that's going to be constructed in that location, and one of the users there would be a tattoo parlor.
Okay.
Fit in well with the Palmer
Yes, a massage parlor.
Yeah, I'd like to know who turned them in.
here. Stop shopping. How does that compare with other communities within our?
Well,
They allow.
I haven't looked at like communities just around you, but I do know that in the city of Elgin, they're allowed in the downtown business district tattoo parlors. For example, there was kind of what would I say, a revival of popularity around 2000 in that period of time, and there was some concern that about the health regulation of these kinds of businesses, and it was decided then, consistent with what some communities were doing, to not allow them in the business districts in Hampshire. But I really can't tell you. We could obviously survey 5 or 10 surrounding communities for you if you wish. But I don't have that information at hand.
I believe Ringo has,
No.
right on.
Yeah,
I
we
don't know,
had-
my own personal observation, almost everywhere I go, they seem like they're in a pretty.
They had one in Burlington and they ended up zoning them out. And the reason being is because a lot of times people that entertain going to tattoo parlors do it late in the evening after maybe they were out partying or drinking or whatever. And they'll show up there at 12 o'clock at night and, 4 or 5 people outside, one person in getting a tattoo. So Burlington zoned it out. That was like 3 or 4 years ago. They had one over there. And they ended up zoning them out. They said, they proposed, it never passed, but they proposed an ordinance saying that all businesses in the village will be closed by 8 o'clock at night. And as soon as that came up, the tattoo parlor closed. So I think if we consider this, it should be considered under a special use classification. That's my opinion.
And I don't
And
think
you
it
are
should be,
entitled to it.
Yes, thank you.
I don't think it should be in a community strip mall. They're not but a truck stop with the hotels and the rest of
I
it.
mean, it's similar to.
That's nice.
There's no retail
What
option.
classification are you putting in?
I mean, we talked about, we have special uses in, of course, B1, be looking at
Correct.
massage parlors. We did it with the massage parlor. Right?
The truck drivers like those.
Yeah, and they have,
I think tattoo parlors have really been upgraded in today's world. It's not the sleazy place where all you sailors go
Really?
when you get drunk. I think they've been upgraded.
That's the only place I ever went to, but I never got one. Somebody always went with me. And
You were the guy standing up.
they always hollered so much, I decided against it, so, yeah. So,
I like the special use, and I would like to restrict the hours.
I agree with that. That's,
9 o'clock is plenty late. If you gotta do it later than that, then maybe another town would.
right. Well,
We
unfortunately,
gotta keep them, a little bit classy.
unfortunately for the one in Burlington, the village president lived right across the street from the tattoo parlor. So
Right
when all
next
this
door.
activity was going on at midnight,
Yeah,
of course, he woke up and he heard,
well, and right next door was a village, member too,
yeah.
Jay.
Yeah, so Mike Block was the village president, so.
And then it became the motorcycle.
Well, let's just
shop,
not
and then
zone in on
something
one, you know.
I'm just saying, that's the only exposure I've had.
Yeah, I like the special use, and I really would, because you gotta think of all the other businesses that we're hoping are gonna be in that strip mall.
Right.
You know, nice restaurant and
Yeah, we
whatever,
want to keep that a class act.
and you wanna keep it a class act.
Right.
We won't be going to a restaurant anymore.
Ever.
We'll spend our money at the tattoo parlor.
Right. So how can we do that, Mark?
Well, if you would, I think you should vote on the petition as it stands. And then if there's a second motion to be made, do that and make your recommendation.
Okay. There you go.
All
Okay.
right, so.
Entertain a motion in the positive light, please.
All right, we will do that. I make a motion to recommend approval of the text amendment for tattoo parlors and body piercing establishment and to use in the B2 community business zoning district.
I'll second it.
No, wait. You're approving it?
Recommend approval, because we always have to do
You
positive.
always make a motion in the
You
positive.
make the motion in the positive.
Right,
You can vote against it.
yes.
Oh, I got you. Okay, I understand. Okay.
Who is seconding?
Mr. Albert.
Take a roll call, please.
Rich? Aye. Hank?
Aye.
Aye?
Jeez.
Go without the special use.
We're gonna go with that. As Mark said, we have to do that second. We have to make a motion to recommend it to be as a special use class.
Then wouldn't we have to go
We would have to reject
no
it.
on this
Yeah.
and then recommend the.
What do we need to do, Mark, on this? Reject this and then go with the special use?
Well, the motion on the floor is to approve a text amendment to allow tattoo parlors in B2. So if you're not in favor of that, you need to vote no, but so far there's been 2 yes votes.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Okay. Well, we will vote yes with the stipulation that it's a special.
No, that's
No,
gotta be a
no, it's gotta be
separate.
a second.
No, the motion on the floor is to recommend approval of the petition as submitted.
Okay,
So if you're against that for any reason, you need to vote no.
Hank is rescinding.
Not yes with some condition. That's going to come later, perhaps.
okay.
All right, let's back up and try it again.
All right, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Rich?
Aye.
Aye. Hank?
No.
Bill?
No,
B? No. Carl?
All right. 3-2.
3-2. All right,
Well, motion fails 2-3, right?
right.
All right.
Now,
Now we want to make
Any other recommendation you would like to forward to the village board?
okay, so we would like to modify, or just, how do we want to word that?
Well, what I've heard is
Okay,
that perhaps that at least some of you are in favor of recommending approval of tattoo parlors as a special use in the B2 district.
right,
correct.
on a case-by-case basis.
with,
All special uses are on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion that we recommend a special use for tattoo parlors in,
the B2.
the B2.
Well, wait a minute. We're not gonna make them. Members of the
No,
board
I was
can make a
That's
recommendation
what I
to
was
the
thinking.
village board. We don't have anything before us.
But I was making
recommend.
the recommendation
Motion to recommend,
Okay.
okay?
that we allow them as a special use with, set hours, no later than any of the other businesses in that district, which would be 9 o'clock at night. I don't see any reason that we have to go any later than something like
That's
that.
Casey's is open 24 hours.
No, not
No,
anymore.
not anymore.
Well,
But restaurants that go in the strip mall are gonna be open past 9.
Okay,
That's fine.
well, then we can, what's ever allowed to the other businesses.
The other businesses
I just think, I feel you're way ahead of yourself.
All right, so far I've got motion to recommend to consider tattoo parlors as a special use
Where's Carlton? What do you-
within,
Just forget it, the whole thing?
within B2. Is that, does that
I
sound
wouldn't
better,
take a vote. If someone, you can just submit to the village board that there are members on the zoning board that feel it's not allowable use, or not recommended that it's tattoo parlors and body piercings are allowable use in a B2, but they would consider letting them be there with the application of a special use in a B2.
There you go.
I will
And
then,
I wouldn't take a vote on it.
Just
you know,
not call it a motion, just put a
Just
recommendation.
Put a recommendation with your decision.
Can we do that,
Yes,
Sure.
we'll do that.
Thanks for the guidance.
All right, so let's recommend to consider tattoo parlors as a special use within B2 zoning area.
Correct. Number 5, consideration for a petition for text amendments relating to general regulations of the village's zoning regulations governing the location and front, side, and rear yards of sheds and fences, and to update the performance standards for fire prevention regulations for the International Code, Council Fire Prevention Code 2006 edition, and any amendments to said editions adopted by the village for its building regulations.
Mr. Chairman, this petition really comes from the village building department. And it's really two separate matters for purposes of publication, and because the petition was from the village, we put them together. But let's focus first on the accessory buildings, the sheds and fences, and where that problem has arisen. Yesterday or the day before, I sent you a diagram of a corner lot. And that's really helps focus on what the issue is here. So if you have that, a corner lot first has an issue as to which of the two frontages is the front. Okay, it doesn't have, it's problematic to interpret a corner lot as having two front yards. Okay. And usually, almost always, there's a front door to a house. So that should be the front yard where you enter through the front door. It also, your village code says that it would be the shortest length abutting a lot line on the front lot line. So once that is established, then the rear yard goes across the back of the house, and there's two side yards that are within the shadow, if you will, of the foundation of the house. So the front yard goes all the way across, the rear yard goes all the way across, and then there's the two side yards. So where can you put a shed or an accessory structure based on what the building inspector has found in existence in various places in the village? Just historically, sheds have been put in these places. It's his suggestion that you allow sheds to be in a side yard or the rear yard. Now, on a corner lot, that would still work in terms of the sight lines for the intersection, because it would always be set back out of the front yard. It'd never be up there by the street, the front street. So that's the proposal before you. It would also, of course, on any lot, allow a shed to be in a side yard, whether it's on a corner or not. I think there's a couple of people that are with us online who want to speak to this issue, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Mark?
Yes.
It's Joe. Okay. Go ahead, guys.
Okay, the reason for the side yard is because some of us have a side load garage. And at the end of the driveway is where the shed is proposed to be put. And because it was based on other sheds and stuff that it could only be put into the back. But when Lennar came in and put some of the homes in with the side loads, my particular case is I have kind of two hills that proceed rolling down to the end of the property line where it used to all be flat. They built these houses up. So there's really no per se flat ground. So that's where we ended up starting this, I think, last year sometime.
Mark, I have a legal question. What constitutes the position of the home? Is it where the front door is located or the mailing address?
I was gonna say the address should be.
Well, I'll tell you, going forward, the building department will make that determination at the time of the building permit. We're going to assign what's the front and what isn't. If you're aware of a property that has the address on the side of the house instead of the front door, I guess anything is possible. There's only so much you can do about what's there historically, but I would say the address would not control if the front door is on the other street.
Okay, so which is it, the address or the front door?
Front door.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Evidently, this situation comes up enough that it's, needs the attention to, rewrite the code.
Okay.
How many times has this come up? How many?
Mr. Chair, if I could just comment on that.
Sure.
This is something the building department and I put together. There are probably 20 sheds in the village already that are not in compliance, but would become in compliance with this change. Right. And then there are several pending right now, since I've been here just 4 months. So the real problem is if you have a corner lot, you really don't have a rear yard, the way the current code reads. So the definition was to consider the front door, the front yard. And you can see we've extended in this diagram the front door on the front of the house all the way to the side yard. So it would prohibit that portion of the property. But I believe this would codify at least the common practice in the past and also eliminate disputes among neighbors who currently, there's at least 3 cases that I'm aware of where there have been disputes because it's not clear in the code.
It would be the front door, not the driveway and that. It would be where the front door is.
That was the intent.
Because we've got one kitty corner from me where the driveway is off Julie, but the front door is on Warren.
Right. And then one behind us, the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, the building department can make an interpretation in each case, but the intent of this was to make the front door be the front
The
yard.
front door, okay.
Okay.
So see, Jake did put the shed in the right place.
Huh?
Jake did put the shed in the right place.
Jake, who's that?
On the corner there. Jake, the guy that had the place with, he used to have a stock iron, remember?
Oh, yeah, but the guy that moved in across the street from me, he put a shed up on the concrete pad.
Oh.
Which is on the side of the garage.
Yeah.
But that's another story.
Do we have any more questions or comments about the?
No.
Any other public comment?
Yeah, this is William Bannon Haley. I just wanted to say that, the corner lot came up mostly because of my home. And I also have a side load garage, which is not at the corner. It's actually on the inside. But my yard is particularly different because I have a swale in my backyard for drainage, which I can't put a shed there either. So the side yard was the most efficient place to put it.
Okay.
At the end of my driveway, just like Mr. Wilson. Thank you.
Anybody have any more questions or comments?
No.
Good. Well, then this part of number 5, the
You know,
change in the regulations of the zoning code, we will entertain a motion.
Okay,
if I may just stop you for a moment, Mr. Wilson, Mr. Ben Haley, I should have sworn you both in. I'm going to ask you now to raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you've given in this public hearing is the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Sorry to have admitted that. There's no other members of the public here to testify about this matter. So, Mr. Chairman, if you're ready to call for a motion, that'd be appropriate.
ready. I'll make a motion to recommend approval of the text amendment relating to general regulations of village zoning as described in number 5.
Take a little more, please.
Yeah. All right.
Hank,
Aye.
Bill. Aye. So, aye. Carl.
Aye.
Rich.
Aye.
All ayes, motion passed.
Okay.
All right. The last matter is simply a change. The current village code refers to the previous fire prevention regulations utilized by the village. Building department has noticed that since that time, those regulations have been changed to the 2006 International Code Council book of regulations. So we're simply asking you to recommend approval to bring that change up to date and be current with the actual paperwork and practices of the village.
Okay, so, gotcha, yeah. Okay.
There is a public hearing here, so I don't know, is there anyone here to comment on that issue?
No.
No.
No, all right. But you can open and close the public hearing and then have your deliberations.
Right.
Let the record reflect, we opened the public hearing at 7:58. And we closed it at 7:59.
Long one.
Yeah, I like this kind of public hearing. Okay, motion to,
Update the performance standards of fire prevention.
I'm assuming nobody has any questions or comments.
now, this is straightforward. Motion to update, what is it, fire code?
Fire prevention code
Fire
206.
prevention code, 2006 edition. And any amendments to said edition. Adopted by the village for its building regulations.
By Bill. Do I have a second? Rich? Second. Okay, Bill? Aye. So, aye.
Aye.
Rich? Aye. And,
Aye.
okay. Nice, motion passed.
All right. We have the last item would be if you would consider authorizing the chairman to review and sign and deliver to the village clerk written findings of fact and recommendations regarding these matters that have been considered tonight.
Okay.
We'll follow up and do that.
I'll make a motion to authorize our chairman to act on behalf of the zoning board for items 2-5 under new business.
It's actually it's all of them.
Okay, it says 2 to 5 on that.
I'm sorry, another typo. I apologize for that. The first one on Thornton's was a recommendation. So all of them should be included.
Okay, 1 to 5, correction, 1 to 5.
I'll second it.
Okay, all right. And that was Hank. Second, Bill. And myself, Carl. Sorry. Rich. Hank. Aye. And Bill. All ayes, motion passed. Thank you.
All right, then. We do have Mr. Chairman, a petition for variance that may be filed in the near future, so it may be necessary to convene again sometime soon. But other than that, I'm not aware of any other business that's pending for the Zoning Board of Appeals.
What about the old business?
Well, oh, that's right. What about that? Is there anything further to do or say about those?
Same as we did before.
No.
It's, yeah. Old business, consideration of the petition of village for zoning text amendment to modify to allow peer gardens in the B1 central business district. That was one, and the second one would be consideration of petition of village for zoning text amendment to modify, allow residential uses above the ground floor as permitted use
Yes.
in the B1 central business.
That one's not a major deal because all we'd have to do is change the wording on that to say, it currently states, as I recall, it has to be occupied by the owner on record. All we need to do on that one is just take out the owner on record and say anybody can occupy it. Correct, I'm looking for it, but I remember that, I recall that.
That's right. And what you're talking about is your downtown business district where a number of the second floors are occupied as residents or it's desired that they be allowed. So it's kind of antiquated to assume that that would only be the owner.
Right, I mean, we know it's happening, so why don't we just remove, for the owner of record, take that out, and we're good.
That's the point of the proposal. It's happening.
Yes.
And it's not causing any trouble apparently. So, there'd be some concern about parking, but I haven't heard any complaints about that. So, you wouldn't want those residents taking business parking places on a regular basis.
No.
Except they're in B2. They're in B2.
Me too.
No, it says B1 central business district.
Yeah, but like State Farm and Rose Garden, those are zone B2.
Okay.
Are they?
Mm-hmm.
So who's B1?
What does the map show? I saw it right along State Street. Was B1.
It shows like the Rose Garden and State Farm where the apartments are upstairs are in the B2.
Yeah.
Not in the B1 central business district. I thought everything downtown was in the B1 central business district.
So-
Me too.
B1 starts with this building and goes that way. So like Roger next door, he's got an apartment upstairs, he's B1. But Rose Garden and State Farm are B2.
Wall Street parking shall provide in accordance with the provisions set forth, which it says in the statute.
Oh, what do you want to do here, Mark?
Is there a recommendation that you're prepared to make?
But it seems that the wording in the petition for the amendment is incorrect. It's not covering, according to the
Yeah.
zoning map that Christine's looking at up there, she says that the Rose Garden, State Farm.
You know, I don't have it in front of me. It goes back so far now that I don't recall the exact origins of what was
At
proposed.
this point, we can make a motion and a recommendation on the wording of the request, the way it is. If it doesn't cover everything, well, then you have to rewrite it.
Trying to look up I'm looking up the petition. Original petition.
Could this be amended, Mark, to include B2 in the central business district?
I suppose you could, we'd have to look at the effect of that, but let me see. What was that?
It's six.
Trying to find the original petition in my computer.
6A-3.
The original, gentlemen, the original petition was to amend the B1 district to allow for the same type of uses as the B2 district. So I believe it's currently allowed in B2. And I've got my book here. Let me just tell you. And that did say that it was allowed for a dwelling unit above the ground floor, but for the owner and his immediate family.
It's an owner of record.
682B. Let's just look at this one a minute. Well, I think the intent was to bring that from B2 into B1 as well. And if, and obviously without the limitation on immediate family. So that's why it does not otherwise refer to B2, although your recommendation might be to clarify that it's not immediate family in B2 either.
I think that one needs to be rewritten.
I would like someone to make a motion, entertain a motion
On item one, I make a
consideration the way it's
motion
written in front of us and pass it on.
to allow beer gardens as permitted in the B1 central business. Beer gardens in the, whoa.
You're going to beer gardens now? I thought.
That's what we started, number one.
Well, we kind of just breezed by number one.
Oh,
We
okay.
blew that one off.
Well,
Go to number one. Let's take a vote. Let's
All right,
go.
what are we doing on number one?
I did the vote in, or the motion in the affirmative. My
Okay,
vote won't be.
okay,
I second it.
all right, Bill,
No.
second, hang on,
No,
hang on.
sorry.
And then, all right, all right, Carl,
No.
Rich,
No.
Hank,
No,
Bill.
No.
Oh, we're all
Five noes.
alive, 5 no's. Okay, motion not approved.
All right, number two,
Number two,
regarding the residential uses above the ground floor in the B1 central business district. We'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval for the text amendment to modify 6-8-2 of the village code to allow residential use above the ground floor as permitted use in B1.
second,
I'll second.
Bill. All right, Rich?
Aye.
Hank?
Aye.
Bill?
No,
Myself? Aye. Carl?
Okay.
4 ayes, 1 no, motion carries.
really only applies to 2 buildings.
Yeah.
You want to vote?
Number 3 under old business, Mark.
All right,
What's that?
that's just the
Same thing.
consideration. yeah.
Consideration to let the
For you
chairman
to let you
execute and deliver.
Oh, again, it's to authorize you to approve written findings of fact on those 2 items.
Okay, I make a motion to recommend, authorize approval of our chairman to act on behalf of the ZBA under our items number 1-2, old business.
Okay. Hank? And second. Rich? And we'll start with. Okay. Hank?
Aye.
Bill? Aye. So, aye. Carl? And Rich?
Aye.
All ayes, pass.
Okay, any public comment?
Chairman, thank you all for coming in tonight under these circumstances. We appreciate it.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.